Well, guys, it has been a wild past couple of weeks, and today is no exception. Today, it was just announced that CZ, the founder and CEO of Binance, is stepping down and pleading guilty to money laundering charges and paying over $4 billion worth of fines. And we'll talk about what happened and what I think this means for Binance. But also, that's not all. Buckle up, because Kraken is getting sued by the SEC again after settling a $30 million settlement earlier this year. And it's no surprise, but Jesse, the founder of Kraken, is pissed, and I think rightfully so. And so again, we're going to talk about what I think all this means for crypto, specifically altcoins, both in the US and outside of the US. And we're going to look at the charts and just kind of talk about the path forward here. But if you're new here, my name's Chris Dunn. I'm known as the world's first Bitcoin trading and investing educator. I've been doing this for over 10 years, doing videos and reports and, education, just trying to help you get in the small percent of people that actually build wealth consistently over time and not get rug pulled or fall prey to all the various scams that are out there in the crypto world. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and make sure you are. But guys, let's just dive into this. And I just want to talk candidly about this whole space right now and some things that I see that I think are exciting, some things that I see that I'm just like still scratching my head trying to figure out what the hell people are thinking. But let's jump into the big thing, which of course is the news that CZ is stepping down, and it looks like he is settling his AML, money laundering stuff. I'm still digesting a lot of this, but what I did is I actually shared with our community a recap of everything that's happened today and some thoughts that I've had here and kind of my path forward and where I'm kind of putting money, where I'm not putting money at risk, and what I guess the opinion on where I see this stuff headed is going. So I think the biggest question is, what does this settlement mean for Bitcoin, for crypto, for Binance, and for CZ? Is he going to jail? It doesn't look like it if they're settling this kind of agreement. And does Binance have the money to pay this fine? And are they going to stay in business or not? And if we take a look at this guy who basically looked at some proof of reserves showing 6.3 billion in assets, 3.2-ish billion in stable coins. This doesn't include off-chain cash or wallets not in POR. So this person seems to think that they're going to be able to pay the fine with zero crypto asset sales. I don't know how valid this is, but I've seen some other people saying that they're going to have to liquidate a bunch of coins and this could create a rush for the exit. I don't know, but here's what I do know is Binance is currently still one of, if not the top crypto exchanges by volume. And they have been slinging a ton of liquidity and just trading action in the crypto space for the past several years. And if they go down, I think in the short to medium term, that is really bad for crypto. I think a lot of coins would go down with it. And that's why I really only like to trade and even invest in stuff that has what I call good exchange diversification, where it trades on more than just Binance or more than just Asian exchanges. I want to see a good, healthy mixture of US exchanges, of DEXs, Uniswap, DYDX, stuff like that, Coinbase, Kraken. Like the more exchanges you have that are trading a token or a crypto asset, the quote unquote safer that is, because if you have a token that say is only trading on Binance, or it's getting 95% of its trading volume and liquidity from Binance, and it gets delisted or Binance goes down, that could drop the value of those tokens 95% or more in a day, and we've seen that over the past year or two with stuff like Luna. And so you've got to be careful, right? Whenever you're out there trading or looking for opportunity, the first thing I look at is average daily volume. Is it trading at least a few $1 million a day in volume across all the exchanges? If not, we call that a microcap shitcoin. And those things are very prone to manipulation from pump and dumpers or, insiders that could crash the price with one fat finger trade, right? And so I look at volume, I look at exchange diversification, and I just want to make sure that, hey, if one exchange goes down or they delist a token, I want to have another place to be able to trade it. And I think that's pretty simple, but I also know that a lot of people really don't think about that. And they're like, hey, how can I just get rich quick? And if you do that and you ignore trading volume or exchange diversification, that's where you have a much higher likelihood of like getting rug pulled and things like that. So if we take a look at what Bitcoin's done, today so far, it's actually been handling that news with relative ease. It really, ever since the news came out, it didn't really do much. In fact, we've seen like a little bit of correlation this week for the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. And I think why is that part of the market right now is actually looking at this Binance settlement as a positive in the fact that it could drive a clearer pathway towards an ETF, a spot ETF approval. And I'll give you an example. So Ryan, founder of Messari, said, Binance de-risking, he's calling it a de-risking, is one of the biggest catalysts that we could have in crypto. And here's a couple of the points. Crypto is quote unquote now a real industry post a $4 billion settlement. CZ gets a long needed Miami vacation like Arthur from BitMEX. We saw a kind of a similar settlement with BitMEX here. Market rips higher, ETFs get approved in January, and then, he goes on to talk about some political party stuff. But I do think that when we get past this, that is kind of a being beyond a roadblock that could be a legitimate reason to not approve a Bitcoin spot ETF. So the more that the US government feels like they have a handle on crypto, the more likely I think they are to approve an ETF. So maybe this was one of the big roadblocks that we had to get through before we could approve it. So that's kind of on the bullish side. There's also just the anti-crypto kind of fear mongers that are still calling for the downfall of Binance and the downfall of Kraken. And it looks like, Kraken, even though they settled this $30 million lawsuit, what they're going after, what the SEC is going after them for is actually more broad. And it almost seems like just kind of a disgusting money grab at this point. If you read Jesse's tweet here, he said, USA's top decel is back with another assault on America. The misogynists haven't been happy with the beatings they've been taking in New York, a la the SEC, and are shopping for a different flavor of Reg Dom in California. I thought we settled all their concerns for $30 million in February. Now they're back for seconds. In Kraken's official statement, you can see right here on their blog where they are just very public about the fact that they disagree with this and they think the law is on their side. And so, the SEC has taken quite a beating. And I think people also need to kind of differentiate kind of the big difference here between the DOJ criminal charges with Binance and money laundering and kind of the civil securities law stuff through the SEC. Those are two very different things. And, I don't want to say I agree with the money laundering and the AML, KYC stuff, but that is the US's biggest priority, like on a federal from like the president down level is money laundering because they don't want to give the US's enemies the ability to liquidate funds, right? Especially countries that they have put sanctions on. So agree with it or disagree with it, just know that I think this is why the fine is so much larger, $4 billion compared to like Kraken's last 30 million, securities law and money laundering stuff. Those are just on two completely different playing fields. And so I think it's just important to kind of know the difference there. But with the SEC stuff, old Gensler is still just jamming hard and doing everything he can to bring crypto down. And they've been embarrassed quite a bit this year, but they've also made quite a bit of money for the crypto space. So it's almost like, the SEC and other regulators have been benefiting from the success of the crypto industry. And they're like, hey, we want our piece too. So to me, it seems like a bit of a disgusting money grab and, dare I say extortion. I know people sit on a wide range on the spectrum of agreeing with going after crypto or thinking it's just totally unfair. I don't know. All I care about is what does the future look like, right? And the way that I'm thinking about this again is I'm an active trader. I'm an investor. I want to trade assets that I think I can increase my wealth with while also minimizing risk. And when I don't really know the future of what it looks like for Binance, and when I think about just how aggressive regulators have been in the US, that pushes me to say, okay, we need to accelerate development and adoption of decentralized exchanges and get more clarity on regulations in the US because it's just been a disaster of, just gray areas and, you guys know, I mean, it's just been messy. So my point and what I'm looking for and what I'm doing nowadays is focusing on trading less assets, bigger position sizes for longer periods of time. So I am buying some altcoins. I've been trading accumulation range breakouts and dips and things like that. But again, I'm putting first and foremost a priority on trading volume and exchange diversification. And, again, I'm leaning into large caps. So Bitcoin is my largest position. I've got some Ethereum. I've got some Solana, right? But I'm managing risk. And as the capital filters down to the smaller cap, like gaming tokens and things like that, I'm participating in this, but I'm being very cautious. And one thing that, again, I think we need to focus on is where are these actually trading? Is the liquidity only coming from Asia? Is it only in the US? Is it a mix? And the ones that have a mix, I think I'm most comfortable with. So you got to kind of like choose your own adventure here and just keep an eye on this stuff and don't get blindsided if something gets delisted. I mean, this is something we saw in the early days of crypto pre-2017 when all the get rich quick people came in, was some of these altcoins, because it was so early, they were only trading on one exchange. And if that exchange got hacked or delisted the token, those tokens were literally worthless. So just be careful that that doesn't happen to you. The other thing I wanted to point out here on the Bitcoin side was how Bitcoin dominance is still trending to the upside. So it's been trending up since September of last year. And so even though we've seen alts gaining over the last couple of months, Bitcoin is still on average outperforming the altcoin market, right? If you look at Bitcoin dominance and you look at Bitcoin's price gains compared to, either total 2 or total 3, you can see that the only way it really makes sense, in my opinion, to buy alts is if there's going to be alpha above Bitcoin's gains. If you have an alt and it underperforms Bitcoin, you're just taking on a higher layer of risk or a higher level of risk for less reward. It just doesn't make sense. So that's why, again, I've been more sized in on Bitcoin. And yeah, we're in popcorn season. We've seen stuff that has shown relative strength over Bitcoin and has gained over Bitcoin. But just keep in mind, over a long enough period of time, pretty much all altcoins go to zero or at least underperform Bitcoin. So I've been beating that drum for many, many years. Some people say I'm insane because I don't love their insert shitcoin. And then when it dies, they go quiet. So been doing this for a long time. And again, my goal is just to help you not get wrecked out there and maybe even join the small percentage of people that build real wealth in this space. So I hope this is helpful, guys. Again, there's a lot that's still unknown. I'm still digesting what this means and what this is going to look like over the next couple of weeks and months. But that's how I'm kind of approaching the risk side of this and how I'm thinking about the altcoin market. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. Like it up if you want to see more videos like this. If you get value from some of my insights, share it up if you know anybody that could use some help. And I'll talk to you guys soon. And also check out our wealth building community if you want to get our alerts and be in the live classes and all that good stuff. I'll link that up below too. So hope this is helpful, guys. I'll see you next time.